what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm Dan Lohmar, CFP professional with United Wealth Management. And today, who I always talk about on every video, my business partner for over 20 years, Alan Bewley. Alan is in the house. Welcome to the video, Alan.
I am so grateful to be here, Dan.
Very good. What are we talking about today, Alan?
A lot going on in the PRAP at United Airlines. Not 2026 and 2027 are going to look a little bit different because we might finally get this cash balance plan thing. Maybe.
Absolutely. Yep. We've been definitely getting our share of questions about it. We've got this election we need to make before the end of this month, which is, by the way, I always like to put a date stamp on this. It's December 11th, 2025. So any numbers we use today and applicable to what we're talking about next year could change in the future. So if you're watching this in the future, just keep that in mind. But yeah, we've got this election we got to make by the end of December. And there's some confusion about that because it has to do with this cash balance plan, which we don't even have implemented right now. So let's talk about that. Alan, why don't you start us off with just a quick recap of how spillover works in our current plan and kind of what those numbers are and stuff like that. I'll go ahead and share my screen here.
As my eighth grade science teacher always said, visual aids are always helpful.
Absolutely. So anyway, go ahead and tell us a little bit about how spillover is happening right now. Let's kind of set the stage for how the cash balance plan will work in the future.
Right. So the methodology we're going to have in 2026 is the same as 2025. The only thing that's changed are just the numbers. The IRS moves numbers up every year. So basically, looking at this chart, those blue dollars that begin filling up your PRAP are your pre-tax and or Roth contributions that are subject to the $24,500 limit. You can also make some catch-up contributions if you're over 50. So that blue portion represents pretty much your allowable contributions to that 24.5 plus catch-up. The yellow and the orange, that can be United B and C fund contributions. It can be your voluntary post-tax contributions. It can be vacation forfeiture. But basically between the blue, the up to the 24.5, the orange, which could be some of your B and C fund contributions, the yellow, that could be some vacation forfeiture, whatnot. The max limit of those contributions are 72. And again, the catch-up contributions goes above and beyond that, so not a trigger. But once you hit 72,000 in contributions, your normal 401k contributions, voluntary post-tax, and company contributions, including vacation forfeiture, once you hit 72,000, for the rest of the year, none of those B and C fund contributions can fit. No more of your dollars can go in. So what happens? Spillover begins. Future B and C fund contributions go to the active health reimbursement account or retiree health account.
Yep.
There's another, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Alan, I know I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because I know you're going to talk about this, but this is no matter where your income is, right? And what I mean is, if you're still making below $360,000 a year, you can have all this spillover, and even if you make more than that, you can have all that spillover. So this is just a basic graphic of how it fills up from the top to bottom, no matter what your income is.
Yeah, and this is spillover being triggered by contributions and contributions alone, nothing else.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's all contributions except for those catch-up contributions, which you've got right here. In 2026, all catch-up contributions, by the way, have to be in Roth. It's automatic. You don't have to do anything as a pilot contributing. Once you hit the 24.5 limit, if you're eligible for catch-up, United automatically makes sure those are Roth. So yeah, right, Dan, thanks. This graphic is showing the spillover being triggered by contributions, and that is that $72,000 limit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Good.
There's another way we can trigger spillover. For example, let's say a pilot's not contributing at all. If they reach $360,000 in earnings prior to that $72,000 contribution limit, that would also trigger spillover. So either one of those triggers, that 72 in total contributions or 360 in compensation, can trigger spillover. All right. So what we're looking at here is, what about once we're getting spillover and we reach $360,000 in earnings, whether that triggered it, whether the contributions triggered it, either one, all of your earnings above 360, those dollars will spill to the HRA, active HRA and or RHA
Yeah.
until you reach 415,556 in income. Once
Yeah.
your earnings hit 415, 556, if you're still moving on, great on you, by the way. But if you're earning more than that, those dollars, instead of those dollars, the B and C fund contributions going into the HRA, RHA, they're being taxed and paid out as PRAP cash. The reason the company did this is it gives the pilot the opportunity in 2020, 25, and 2026 to say, hey, I want to limit spillover to 10,000 to the RHA, HRA. How do I do that? I don't contribute much at all to my PRAP. I therefore hit this compensation limit before the contributions limit, and this is all the spill I'm going to get, because spill would not be triggered until 360 in compensation. So it's only that $55,000 difference times 18%. There's that 10,000.
Yep. And just to make it clear, we're only talking about above contributions above 360. We're only talking about United's contributions, not personal contributions. We cannot direct contributions, our own personal contributions, into the active HRA or RHA.
Correct. One last thing, $360,000 in earnings. If you've hit either 72 and 360 and you're over 50 and have not yet made the over 50 catch up, can you still make those, Dan?
Yes. Yeah. You can make the catch-up contribution no matter what your income limit is. As a matter of fact, if you have room up to the $72,000 limit, you can still make those contributions. So you can put into 70 up to 72,000, all contributions combined, regardless of your income.
Very good. All right, so this is 2026, very similar to 2025. So now, Dan, let's see how 2027 could possibly change.
Yep. So this is the cash balance plan that is under proposal right now, and we'll talk about the elections and kind of what that looks like. But just to kind of break this down, is one clarification we made on this slide is the decision diamond here says 18% for income greater than 360. So we just want to clarify that's year-to-date income, right? So if you're starting out January 1st and you say, well, I'm going to make 400,000 this year, so I'm going to go to this side, that does not apply. I mean, this is only that if you kind of think of yourself as looking this on a month-by-month basis and asking yourself, is my year-to-date income greater than 360? So if it's not, right? So the plan isn't a whole lot different. On the left side, if we come over here and your decisions come down. So if it's not, do you have 72,000, which we talked about? And it said there's nope, United's 18% goes into the PRAP, plus any of your pre-tax or Roth contributions, your post-tax contributions, your vacation forfeiture, all that stuff is limited to $72,000. And again, this does not include catch-up contributions. That can go in there anytime. So is there room in here? It goes into the PRAP. If you if you have reached $72,000 here, and you say, oh, yes, I have. So there's two things that apply. My income year to date is less than 360. In other words, this says, is it greater? Well, no, it's not greater, so it's less. My income has not reached 360 for the year. So does your PRAP have a 72,000 in it? Yes. So it spills into the RHA. And so there's no limit as to how much spillover you can have into the retiree health account if your year-to-date income is less than $360,000. So really, The plan itself, for those who will not make 360, is not significantly different. There is no cash balance plan option over here. So that's the
Right. So
biggest.
when you said no limit to spill, it's limited by until your income hits 360. So, right. So if
Yeah.
you, yeah, if you hit $72,000 in total PRAP contributions by the time you've made, say, $300,000, the spill starts. It starts to your RHA or active HRA, and it continues until you make 360
Yeah.
if you get there. And then above those dollars, okay, then you have the election to make.
Yes. Exactly.
But you'll
So
need to make it before the year, obviously. But
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's the thing about it is you always have to make this a year in advance. And that's why in some of our benefits that we're going to accrue next year are going to pay out in 2027. And that's why the one of these the rules pertaining to this is that it has to be made a year in advance at least. And so that's why we're having this question, this election this December in 2025 for something that won't even happen in 2027. So that's exactly right. So if you look at the other side of it, and again, reviewing, we're looking at this on a monthly basis, not a full year basis. Is my year-to-date income greater than 360? And then you come over here, yes. Okay, now the pilot chooses between your your RHA, or the cash balance plan. And that's the decision we're making right now is where do you want that to go? And so if you selected active HRA or RHA, the plan is no different than it is right now, other than PRAP cash does go away. There's no above 415,000 and some change. The new cash balance plan will not have a PRAP cash option. And so this is where you can choose spillover due to United's contribution over income on greater than 360 is you have that other choice. Do I want to go in the RHA or the cash balance plan? So that's the big difference. What we're looking at here, oops, let me pull up this other screen real quick.
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. All right, let me pull up this other screen here. So what we're electing now, this is the election page on the PRAP website. And so let's break it down as simply as we can. And that is the first two elections are what do you want to do with vacation forfeiture? Okay, so if you tell yourself in your mind, I am not forfeiting vacation, period, dot, then these don't apply. But I would not go so far as they won't apply because sometimes we get training, vacation gets
Mhm.
dropped. And so you could have a forfeiture in there
Right.
one way or the other. So that's so probably smart to make an election here just so you know where it's going to go. So if the cash balance plan is not started, this is no different than the election we make every December. And
Correct.
so it basically means if you have forfeited vacation, do you want it to go into the PRAP or do you want it to go in the active HRA? So we've made this same election every year for the past, 10 years or so. And so if you elect PRAP, and the PRAP is full, again, it hits that $72,000 limit. This usually pays out in what, June or July, I think it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So if you've hit 72,000 by that time, guess what? It goes into the active HRA anyway, right? So sometimes if you're going to fill that thing up early in the year, may not make any difference what election you make. Um, but anyway, so that's what the first one is. Now the first one is if the cash balance plan has started by April of 2027, and that's because that's when our vacation cycle is based off of.
Right.
So again, do I want vacation? I can split vacation between the PRAP or the cash balance plan. Okay, that's a pretty simple election right there. Choose one or the other. And again, if the PRAP is full by the time vacation forfeiture is going to pay out, then guess what? It goes into the active HRA, RHA, just like
Right.
it normally does. So you'd want to elect one or the other. Okay, so the last one is where we get into the change on income above $360,000. So again, If you don't think your income will be above 360, you can go, well, this doesn't really apply, but go ahead and make an election anyway, just in case you upgrade to captain or have a great year or something like that.
Right.
But anyway, so this is only applies to income above 360. And again, I'm using $360,000. That's the 2026 limit. It's going to be different for 2027, but that's the only number we have right now. So it's just easier to use the 2026 number. So anyway, for income above 360, where do I want United's 18% contribution to go? Do I want it to go into cash balance plan or do I want it to go into the active HRA, RHA?
Or a combination.
Yeah, or a combination. Exactly. Yep. So you use 100%, 50%, whatever. They both have add up to 100. And then to keep in mind that again, when we make this election, PRAP cash option is no longer a player, right? So 18's United's 18% contribution on income, based on income over 360, is either going into your choice right here. It's not paying out as PRAP cash. So any questions about that, Alan? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So let me throw out a couple of different income ranges for you, and I'm talking full year income. And you let me just answer the questions, and we'll kind of try and touch some different income ranges. Let's say a pilot makes $250,000 in income and modestly, say just barely maxes out their PRAP for the year. Should they see any type of spillover anywhere?
No.
Right. So
Nope.
they haven't put enough into that PREP to hit that 72 in combined contributions. That's assuming again they don't put, vacation forfeiture and post-tax. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Same pilot makes 300,000, same thing. They just only thing they're going to put in is their 24/5. These are next year's numbers. Uh, Still no cash balance plan option and some spill over to the RHA. They're making enough now to where they'll probably hit that 72,000 in combined contributions before reaching the end of the year and before
Yeah.
reaching 360 in income.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
pilot's going to see some spillover.
Right.
So just
Right.
so okay.
Yep.
Um, Now let's take a pilot that makes exactly the earnings limit, $360,000. Tell us how that pilot could minimize or maximize RHA spillover. But first of all, do they have any money that could be spilled to the cash balance plan at all?
No,
Okay.
nothing. If you make, let's just say you're right at $360,000 this year and this thing was implemented, no, there's no way to get money into the cash balance plan in that situation.
But they
But
could get AHRA spillover.
could have a ton out if they had front loaded there and made heavy contributions in the beginning of the year. Absolutely.
Right. So, moral of the story, you make less than 360, above about 260, somewhere in that range. If you make just normal, going to max out my peer app, but not go crazy, you're going to see some spillover. You want more of it? How do we do it? Vacation forfeiture, voluntary post-tax contributions, right? Max out early, max out often. All right. Now let's take a pilot that makes 450 and
Yes.
they max out their peer app for the year, don't do any vacation forfeiture. They don't do any post tax. They just max out my peer app. I'm good there, but I make 450. What's going to be their spillover trigger and how long is it going to go? And then where does it go?
Yeah, so two things. They're going to get two types of spillover in that situation. So it's just to say they put for $24,500 in there. That's going to be in the, let's just say they do that, a 10% contribution. So it's going to reach that limit fairly early in the year. So that's going to fill up the $72,000 trigger early in the year. So that alone will create some spillover into the active HRA RHA. And then once their income hits $360,000, that too is going to create spillover. So in the situation you described, the captain making $450,000 a year, making moderate contributions, putting in 24,500, they're going to have a fair amount of spillover in there. Yep, from both
Okay.
contributions and from income.
Okay. And so the contribution spill is going to happen to the active HRA or RHA from the time they hit the 72 to the time they hit the 360 in income. From 360 to 450 is going to depend on where that money goes.
In 2026?
27.
Oh, okay, in 2027, yeah. So in 2027, if the cash balance plan is elected, then from that point forward, income above contributions on income above 360 in 2027, that will be that's whatever they choose. So they can choose at that point the active HRA or the cash balance plan at that point, or a combination of both.
Right. Right. All right. So I think we got a good handle on people. We want to make sure they understand that this is not simply an election of spill to the cash balance plan or the active or RHA or combination thereof. It's only the dollars, the contributions on the dollars above 360,000 in income. For next year, it's probably going to be closer to 365 or something in 2027. So that is what the election in that box three really is on that election page. It are those contributions. All right. What else?
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. No, that's good. So I hope that clarifies some questions. A lot of times we get questions about, hey, I thought my spillover is limited to $10,000. No, that doesn't apply in either one of these cases. And you make a good point is that the cash balance plan option is not an option if you're not, let's just say a high earner,
Yeah,
whatever that number is. Next year is 360. It'll be higher than that next year or the year after. And then, PREP cash does go away.
right.
So, yeah, no, that's a good discussion. Anything else you want to, any other good points you want to bring up with that?
Nope. Just let us know if you have questions, folks.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, yep. So we hope we kind of clarified that election for everybody. If you're a client, please reach out. And if you got questions about this, we can help you make that decision. And if you're not, hey, spread the word. I always say those who aren't watching this are the ones who need to watch it the most. So if you like it on YouTube, please be sure to share it, and so our fellow pilots are getting the information too. So, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining me today, Alan. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, take care. Fly safe.